big ol' thing. It's the first high-profile fighting game to use Unreal Engine 5. It is the first Tekken game to use Unreal Engine 5, and it is a hell of a look. Wowie. Tekken 8 is technically incredible looking, but it's also a Tekken game, so that means it's probably a very good fighting game. Tekken is fun as hell. Like, it's, since its introduction, always been a game that people love. I've always come back to Tekken whenever they release a new one, and I'm never disappointed, at least in how the game feels and plays. Sometimes maybe there's some issues surrounding it, but these are smooth, fluid fighting games that I really enjoy and can't wait to dive back into. I won't have to wait too long either. Tekken 8 is landing on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC January 26th. At number 9 is Persona 3 Reload. As you know, Falcon the Game Bird has always been a big Persona fan, and I'm quite excited for a remake of Persona 3. It has been a long time since I've played Persona 3. I mean, I did kind of play the re-release here recently, but I didn't really beat it because I knew this was on the horizon. It's essentially Persona 3 and Persona 5 quality, and I'm there. It takes nothing to get me in the door on that. I mean, they've really done a lot here. Unfortunately, it does mean some of the content that was added after, like the female protagonist or the epilogue chapter, that stuff's not there, but they have redone all of the animated cutscenes, and it really is like Persona 3 at Persona 5 quality. Apparently, there's going to be a lot more environmental stuff you can do too. They haven't altered any of the dialogue or that kind of stuff, but, I mean, come on, why wouldn't you want to play this if you're a Persona fan? Or just a fan of these kind of like weirdo, goofy-ass, let's talk about society, but let's do it through the lens of a bunch of crazy crap. Oh, and also, like, you have to go to school and crap, and it's weird. Also, I mean, everything about Persona is super weird. It's heightened to a degree where I'm sure it probably turns some people off, but these are interesting games, to say the very least. I'm excited for this. It's coming to the PlayStations, the Xboxes, and PC February 2nd. At number 8 is Alone in the Dark. So what is regarded as perhaps the progenitor of Resident Evil is being brought back in the very same way that Resident Evil 2 and 3 were so incredibly successful. In fact, the developers, Pisces Interactive, were brought in by THQ Nordic to, in a lot of ways, attempt to replicate the successes of those games. Much like those games, it takes the fixed camera tank controlled Alone in the Dark and makes it into a third person over the shoulder, much more modern experience. Now, I'm personally very excited for this. If you want to kind of see how it works, there's a demo out right now called Grace in the Dark. It's a prologue chapter. It kind of sets you up with expectations as to what this exactly is going to be. I think it really does a good job showing that this is going to be a great remake. I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be pretty big. It's coming to PS5, Xbox Series, and PC March 20th. And number 7 is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Now, I absolutely want to note that this is maybe a controversial pick, but we're talking about big games that people are going to talk about a lot, and whether this ends up a bad live service style game, even if it's not necessarily a live service game by the time it comes out, or if it turns out to be very good, I think people are going to talk a lot about it. I obviously hope for the latter. This is the last Batman performance by Kevin Conroy, and it's a dark one from the looks. The game is set in the Arkhamverse, however, it takes place in Metropolis, and all of the real big, great... like I said, really do hope that this turns out to be a good game. The idea is honestly not something we've ever really been able to play, like superhero hunting. That's potentially quite good, but also, given Gotham Knight and all of the live service stuff, there is good reason to be skeptical about this, so... Good to note, great potential, also potential to about it a whole lot. It's landing on the PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on February 2nd. And number 6 is Skull and Bones. I mean, allegedly, we're actually going to get Skull and Bones. They've been advertising it pretty heavily. I've been seeing commercials for it. This game's been in development hell for a long... Why?